Welcome back to another episode of Whether or Not. This week, we'll be taking an in-depth look at self-driving cars with a feature by Allie. We'll have your forecast with Drew, and of course, some nature in the news stories, taking a look at the retractable roof used at the U.S. Open last week and the upcoming forecast for the fall colors. Whether or Not starts right now. Hello, I'm your host, Michael Spagnolo.
And I'm your forecaster, Drew Narsutis.
Drew, I definitely enjoyed the more seasonable weather we had last week.
I sure did too. I finally got those cooler temperatures and dew points that I was hoping for. I can't really tell because it's so hot in the studio right now, but we got them.
It is a little warm in here, but definitely cooler outside. It was nice. A couple of those nights I was able to flip that AC off.
It was, yes. It definitely got a little bit more seasonable this last week, and I'll have a little bit more with that later on in my forecast.
Well, looking forward to it.
All
For
right.
now, let's get to the nature in the news stories. Astronomical fall begins on September 22nd, and the weather of this past summer can have an impact on the upcoming fall colors. This past summer, and especially over the last month or two, much of the Northeast saw below average precipitation, with the greatest drought residing across north-central Pennsylvania and eastern New England. While a suddenly wet fall with warm days and cool nights could turn things around, the fall colors are likely to start changing early across the Northeast, with less vibrant colors expected. As the trees attempt to remain as healthy as possible through the drought, they may shed their leaves early and more quickly, entering their period of hibernation for the upcoming winter. With above average temperatures here in central Pennsylvania this past week and near record high temperatures at times, there is currently no color in the area.
As of September 13th, the National Weather Service has reported that 35 people have died to lightning strikes. This is much more than the 12 fatalities that tornadoes have caused this year. Last year in 2015, only 27 people died, with the average amount of fatalities per year being in the 20s somewhere. The most deadly year was in 2006, when about 48 people died from lightning strikes. So far, 2016 is on pace to contend with that record. The National Weather Service urges people to stay safe when outdoors. Remember, if you hear thunder, lightning is close enough to strike. If you find yourself out at this point, please swiftly exit to a safe space and stay there for 30 minutes until after the storm ends.
The U.S. Open is held every year in New York City and in late August and early September. With the heat and humidity of summer often still in place, weather delays are common, with the men's singles final being delayed at least a day due to inclement weather 5 years in a row, from 2008 to 2012. This prompted construction to begin on a retractable roof in 2013. The construction over Arthur Ashe Stadium was halted each year for the tournament, but was finally completed this past year. With the cold front passing and post-tropical Hermine churning just offshore for several days of the tournament last week, the brand new retractable roof got its first uses. With the rain pounding on the roof and the crowd roaring, it got noisy in the stadium. And the roofing benefits are inspiring construction on the smaller Armstrong Stadium next door, which is undergoing renovations over the next 2 years that will be giving it a roof as well.
For those of you yet to visit Australia's Great Barrier Reef, now would be the time to do it. With scientists saying that the Great Barrier Reef is disappearing faster than ever, with nearly half of the coral already gone. Australia's government says that despite the destruction of a beautiful natural habitat, the effects on Australia's tourism are overwhelmingly positive. Unfortunately, there's a vicious cycle here. See, when the tourists travel to a destination to see it before it disappears, it also somewhat contributes to its demise. A similar instance occurred a little bit ago in the Galapagos. So while it may be great for the tourism and economics of Australia, it's also very bad for the coral reefs. So as we were saying, yes, the temperatures lately have been pretty high up there. Temperatures of the last 7 days have been about 80 degrees, and the average for this time of year should be about in the lower 70s, so we're definitely above average. for our time of year. Thankfully, on Wednesday, we had a little bit of a air mass change with a cold front that brought along with it some more reasonable temperatures and dew points. A little bit of good news also for the trees in our forecast. We do have a little bit of rain forecasted, and a lot of Pennsylvania has been stricken with drought, so hopefully this H2O will get to the trees and help them out a little bit. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. First, let's talk about Friday. Friday is going to be a pretty nice day, actually, surprisingly. This high pressure system is going to keep any sort of precipitation from coming into the areas, and we're going to have temperatures in the mid-70s, dew points in the mid-50s, and a couple of clouds here and there to break up the sunshine throughout the day. Going on to Saturday, we have a little bit of a wind shift showing that there's going to be some southwest winds bringing in a little bit of moisture from the Gulf. It's going to bring the dew points into about the mid-60s. We're going to also have a little bit of rain because of an oncoming cold front that's going to be helping bring some of this moisture up into the air and fall down as rain. Going on to Sunday, we have this cold front that gets ever nearer, and we also have a little bit more humidity because the jet streak is going to be parked right on top of us, thus strengthening these winds from the southwest, bringing in this humidity. So we'll be seeing even more rain all throughout Sunday and possible showers too. As we go to this weekend, we see that Friday is going to be a beautiful day. If you're going to do anything this weekend outside, I would definitely suggest going on Friday. Friday night is going to be also a pretty good night, 58, 9 degrees, mostly cloudy, pretty good conditions. Saturday is where we get the rain. The rain should be in western Pennsylvania at about 7 o'clock, and then possibly in State College at about 4 in the afternoonish, mid-afternoonish. Saturday night is going to be our greatest chance of thunderstorms, with about 60% chance of thunderstorms in the afternoon. And going on to Sunday, we have about a 50% chance of rain that day. It'll be all throughout the day, so we won't really see much of an escape of it from there.
Hollywood's biggest stars have been creating science fiction films for decades. But now, that sci-fi technology is becoming apparent in our everyday society. Car companies, such as Tesla, have been creating self-driving cars, with the hopes that those benefits will potentially change the world as we know it.
Self-driving vehicles could make the world effortless. Along with making your day that much more easier, they have the potential to have higher safety implications. These cars are created to better the standard of driving across the globe, which can even make the most hesitant driver a pro.
The main reason this whole self-driving car thing started is to eliminate accidents, because the majority of accidents are caused by driver error. So whether it be drug abuse, drinking while driving, overcompensating and braking, driver experience or lack of.
When it comes to checking devices, many people fear taking their hands off the wheel for the safety of themselves and others on the road. Now, these vehicles are trained to allow you to free your hands from the wheel and to direct your attention from the driving for a few moments. This, however, does not last for long. Even in autopilot, it is suggested that whoever is piloting the car should keep their hands on the steering wheel at all times. It is advised that the drivers rest them on their knees with their palms facing upwards while the fingertips are still touching the wheel. Hands can be taken off altogether for a moment, but after a few seconds, the car will give a reminding message asking the driver to touch the wheel in some capacity. These regulations vary from country to country, but the mechanics behind the car stay relatively the same.
It's not different than any other car. What it is, it has a bunch of add-ons to it. So there's a complex system of cameras, radars, infrared technologies that communicate together and lets the car know where it is in relation to other cars, how fast it's going. Let the car know what the traffic light in front of it is, if there's a stop sign. And all this is added to existing cars right now for the testing phase.
These cars are also equipped with auto steer, real-time feedback features and sensors, a front-facing radar, a camera with image recognition capabilities, and a 360-degree ultrasonic sonar to read lane lines and detect other vehicles. Companies such as Uber have implemented these cars to test out the reliability of the radar, sonar, and autopilot technology. Uber is a company that uses iPhone, Android, and computer application technology for people to use to summon a driver at the touch of a button. This company has debuted their first fleet of self-driving cars earlier this month.
Now in the city of Pittsburgh is that they have these cars that make random trips around the city to try to map out the entire city, all the streets, all the corners, for data collection purposes, to know what the traffic patterns are, how fast to take certain corners, and things like that to help the development phase, essentially.
Pittsburgh is one of the first cities to bring this to the roadside eyes of civilians, but car companies really believe that these robots are mainly for highway and freeway driving, where conditions are pretty predictable and driving doesn't get too complicated. Things that seem impossible are making its way to the market as we speak. Robots are slowly becoming a part of our everyday lives, making mundane tasks easier. As some futuristic ideals start to emerge from the think tank of many companies, most of these new products still require testing to become what movies showcase in theaters today. For Whether or Not, I'm Allie Debicki.
Welcome to your extended forecast. Today we're going to be talking about the more oppressive heat that has been in the area and what is to come. Thankfully, we've had a little bit of a break from that with Wednesday evening. A little bit of a air mass change came through and knocked the temperatures and dew points a little bit down to a bit more comfortable of a temperature. Friday, we're going to be seeing a little bit of the residual effects from that, only up to the 74 degrees, but it's the dew points that really are the difference there. The dew points are going to be only in about the 50s, not like the normal 60s and even 70s that we've been seeing as of lately. Going on to Friday, there are going to be some afternoon showers. Showers should get into the State College area, maybe about 4 o'clock or so p.m., and then a little bit earlier in the morning for the areas to the west of State College, like Pittsburgh and whatnot. Saturday afternoon and night is when we're going to be seeing our highest chances of thunderstorm. At about 60% chance on Saturday night, we are going to be seeing a little bit of it here and there, so make sure to stay safe and stay indoors. Sunday, these storms are going to continue with only about a 50% chance of thunder, but that should still be enough to warrant some safety. It's going to be all throughout the day, so it'll be a great day to stay indoors, have some coffee, watch some cartoons, just anything really inside would be a good activity to do on Sunday. As we look at our extended forecast, we can see that our temperatures are much above the average for this time. Monday through Friday, the average is about a 70, and we're going to be seeing mid-70s to upper 70s, maybe even an 80 every now and then. And very, very nice skies. Not too much precipitation in the area. A couple of clouds Monday and Friday, but that's about it. Sadly, this isn't going to be very well for the trees. The trees are in a little bit of a drought right now, and they really need some precipitation to get best peak colors in a couple of weeks from now. They thrive best with medium to higher temperatures during the day and cool but not freezing temperatures at night and quite a bit of precipitation. But sadly, we have been missing that precipitation and we have been getting maybe a little bit too hot during the days. So it might be best if we don't get these temperatures and if hopefully we can get a little bit seasonable temperatures.
Thank you for that forecast, Drew.
You're welcome, Michael. And as I said, hopefully we'll be seeing some fantastic fall foliage pretty soon.
Yep, looking forward to the hillsides of central Pennsylvania getting a little bit more colorful.
I am too.
Now it's time for your Weather Whiz quiz question. Earlier in the show, we asked you, what is the hottest temperature recorded in State College, Pennsylvania during the month of September? Is it A, 88 degrees, B, 92 degrees, C, 95 degrees, or D, 98 degrees? If you picked D, 98 degrees, then you are correct.
Yes, this actually occurred on September 2nd of 1953. It was a really hot September in 53, with 3 other days in September getting record high temperatures, including one that hit on September 30th with 90 degrees.
So this September, while it has been warm, has definitely not been record hot.
You're right, and thank God for that. I could not handle that for sure.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for this episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Michael Spagnolo.
And I'm your forecaster, Drew Narsutis. Have a great rest of your day.